Hello, everybody. How is everyone? Hope everything's all right. Looking at everything here. And everything seems to be good. This is okay here. This seems okay here. And here we go. So WV 15 megahertz coming in quite nicely. Sorry guys, I got a little scratchy voice. I went to a Japanese sake festival last night. And me and my nephew had quite a few different sakes. And so I'm a little tired, but that does not mean that I can't open a special beer. So here we go. A big fin du monde. And here we go. Oh man. Oh, here it comes. And here we go. The cork. And now we will fill the beer. It's just perfect. Spent the last 90 minutes in the freezer, so it's like just perfect, nice temperature right now. Here we go. Glass number one. So there's about 2 glasses in here. So how is everybody? And now, hello everyone. Welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave show. We are live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and we are here every Friday, well, twice a week, on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 5 p.m. Pacific. That's 0 UTC. Technically, that's Thursday UT. And we are live on Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 20 UTC. And of course, we hope that you will enjoy the show. What do we do here? We talk about radio, shortwave radio in particular, anything below 30 megahertz, but sometimes we do talk about above 30 megahertz. Everything is welcome. And we tune the bands, and we talk about things that are happening or going to happen. And there's a beautiful chat room where you can join in. And of course, if you don't have the ability to be in the chat room, you can of course send an email to officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. And that is where I will read your emails if you can't join in on the chat room. So don't hesitate to send a little email and say hello. I will check from time to time, make sure that everybody's here. My name is Gilles, located in northeast part of North America in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, where Canada is actually this weekend in the Thanksgiving weekend. For some reason, our Thanksgiving weekend is this weekend, while in the US it's in November. So this is the Canadian Thanksgiving weekend. I got nothing planned, and honestly on Monday I'll be working, so YouTube doesn't have any I think holidays or anything special. So happy Thanksgiving to my Canadian friends, and hope you have a good one. Okay, in the chat room, William Conlon, nice to have you here. Matambali in Colorado, nice to have you on board. Mark Cope, nice to have you here from Dallas, Texas. Toby Allen, nice to have you here from Norway. Pretty cool. Dan Walsh, nice to have you on board from a cloudy New York City. Here it is a beautiful, beautiful day in Montreal. I almost did the show from outside in the backyard, because we are it's just so beautiful out there. But I thought, well, you know, as time will go and the sun will go down, the temperature drops quite fast. We are close to 70 Fahrenheit today, around 21 Celsius outside, so it's really beautiful. This is kind of warm because it's supposed to be about 13 degrees Celsius at this time of year. So we are a little bit above, and the colors in the trees are amazing. I mean, it's just great. I was looking at my loop about 10 minutes ago, and the sun through the colored trees, just so beautiful. Cyberflyer 1, nice to have you on board from the UK. Brent, nice to have you here from Brockville, Ontario, Canada. And it's nice to have you here. Shelly Sykes, nice to have you here. Cool, making chicken noodle soup. That, you know, in a cold winter day, that I like that. Or, of course, you know, when you have a cold or you got the flu, it's something that's, you know, it's kind of comforting. Scott Granston, nice to have you here from Massachusetts. William Collin says, is the ICOM 8500 good on SSB? Yes, it's an amazing radio on single sideband. Absolutely. Absolutely. PLF Radio, bonjour et bienvenue de la France. Toujours un plaisir de vous avoir parmi nous. Kimberly, nice to have you here. K6YYL from Southern California. David, KJ4CMY, nice to have you on board. And tuning to WWV for the music. It has a great beat. Redolpha 65, nice to have you on board from New York City. Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here. Well, hello there, and take care, my friend. 45 unit, nice to have you here. Keegan in Northwest Arkansas, nice to have you on board, and good afternoon. D1DJK from Germany, nice to have you here, my friend. What else do we have? Matambali 50 Fahrenheit here. Snow yesterday. Wow. We haven't had snow yet here. And in northern parts of the province of Quebec they did, but not here. Here usually the snow is we see a few snowflakes in October. Rarely do we have October snow that really like is on the ground, that stays on the ground a few days. We don't have that very often. It does happen though. I remember I don't know, I guess I was probably at the time I was probably like 14 or 15 years old, and going out trick-or-treating on Halloween night, and it was white everywhere. There had been snow during the day on Halloween, and it was all white everywhere, which was, I think, the only Halloween that I remember that I trick-or-treat with snow on the ground, which was very weird, honestly, because it's not something we see very often. But it's often very cold on Halloween here. For the, you know, let's hope that this year maybe is going to be better for the little kids. Joe Rutman, nice to have you here from Chicago area. Pretty cool. Low of 33 Fahrenheit. Yeah, and next week is going to be colder. We're going to have like 11, 12 degrees during the daytime, which is close to normal for this time of year for here. Andy Colley, nice to have you on board. D1DJK says, Monday we get 23 Celsius in Germany and sunny weather. Wow, that's nice. Patrick Manny, nice to have you on board. Rob, nice to have you here from Phoenix, Arizona. Scott Cranston says, oops, I just lost my my chat. Okay. Oh, it's Columbus Day. Okay, Columbus Day in the States. So you guys also have a holiday this weekend. Cool. Columbus Day. Yeah, I remember there was something around that. Cool. Joe Gomez, nice to have you here from San Diego, California. Pretty cool. Take care, Bobby Burgess. Matambali says, nice thing about antenna maintenance, it gets you outside long enough to enjoy nature. Yeah, absolutely. 45 unit, nice to have you here from Southeast Florida. Partly cloudy and 81 over there. Have you heard any pirates lately? I haven't heard pirates in a couple of weeks now. I think it was 2 weeks ago last time I tuned and heard actually a pirate station. And talking of pirates, let's look at anything that could be in the pirate bands. 6900. And if you guys are wondering why I have something tattooed on my hand, not to worry. It's my stamp from the sake festival of yesterday. I went with my nephew to a Japanese sake festival, which was very, very nice. Very nice. I tasted some amazing sake. I can tell you that. We tasted so many sakes that I think it costs like. So that festival yesterday had so it cost $60 to get in, and you would they would give you 20 coupons exchangeable for sake, and we paid our entry, and I think we spent like another $30 each for more coupons to taste more sake. So by the end of the night we were drunk, but we had a great evening. Wilbur, nice to have you here. So you hacked your MLA30, replaced the steel metal loop with copper 14 gauge bare wire. So yeah, did you keep the same size? Because wire gauge doesn't really change much in antenna in general, but I guess maybe you made it longer. Dan805, nice to have you on board, my friend. Trustin Panty, nice to have you here. Eddie Essex, radio and beer, it's Friday, absolutely. Cheers, my friends. Joseph Ivankovich, nice to have you here. W8JXQ from Battle Creek, Michigan. Radio Telescope, nice to have you on board. Samuel Peterson, nice to have you here from New Mexico. Well, yeah. Let's try to have somebody in every state. We need Alaska. I wonder what states would be missing and all the people that showed up in my live shows. What are the states we never heard of from? I'm trying to remember. I think we had people from almost every state. And I think we did have someone from Alaska once or a couple of times. Trying to remember which states are underrepresented in the chat room of the Shortwave show. John McClure, nice to have you here. So sad, the 1DJK. There are some crazy people everywhere. Bob T, nice to have you here, Bob. Beautiful day, Northeast Ohio. Same here. Good day for the expedition. Too bad I am stuck here inside at work. Honestly, I did a lot of things today, and finally decided to go and have a haircut and everything. And if today would have been a regular day that I didn't have live shows and so many things to do, I would have maybe decided to go to Perry Island for like one last time. I'm hoping to go to Perry Island before winter sets in. You know, usually this time of year we have the possibility of still getting a few beautiful days. And I was looking at the long-term weather, and even though this week's going to be cool, it is going to warm up, and we're going to get close to 70 in like a little more than a week from now. If that holds true and we have sunshine, there's a good chance I might want to go to Perry Island for one last de-expedition before winter sets in. I unfortunately didn't have a lot of time this summer, and I really need to take more time to do stuff. I didn't even have time to do the walk in the park stuff this week. I wanted to go to the park that's just near here with some of the radios and do some videos, and I just didn't have a lot of time, which was sad because I would have enjoyed, like, you know, setting up and spending a couple of hours in the sunshine. Who knows, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. Maybe tomorrow I could do this, tomorrow afternoon actually. And it's still going to be nice tomorrow. It's supposed to be around 70-ish like today. So maybe tomorrow I'll go to the park and do a few some videos with the portable receivers. And so I'm going to try to do that. Ben LeBlanc, nice to have you here. KC1EWT, nice to have you on board from Massachusetts. Page Master, nice to have you here. KC5VOY, did you reactivate your account or something? Oh, the trees by my balcony are amazing, Patrick Manning. I mean, just going to show you guys, okay? I'll take a picture from the window here because it's a little complicated for the camera to move, but just going to take a picture from the window here, just quickly. So this is, I'm just going to go back, camera, back, photo. So this is one, and sorry guys, I'll be there in a few seconds. And this is another one here. So just to show you guys quickly the trees just from my window here. They are so colorful actually that they give a red color to my my office when the sun shines through it. So just to show you guys what it looks like, this is directly in front of my window here, and the picture doesn't show actually, isn't, you know, really giving justice to the colors. So that's the tree here, all red, and when the sun shines through it really, really well, it's amazing, amazing. And this is actually, this one is even better. You see it better here, more of the redness. And this one is from another angle of the tree on the other side of the streets that are kind of orange and yellow colored. It's just amazing. I mean, this street gets extremely beautiful at this time of year with all the colors and the maple trees. It's just really beautiful. Really, really crazy. So what else do we have? Matam Bali, woo, 20 sake coupons that'd be lit for 2 weeks. Actually, some sakes cost up to 4 coupons to get just one sip. So, you know, we did have a lot. I was telling my nephew this morning, I was texting him and said, wow, we were drunk last night. And my nephew said, yeah, well, I think we had 25 sake shots each last night. And I said, wow, that many? That's why we were so drunk. Ronald Hester, nice to have you on board in North Carolina. David Snyder, nice to have you on board from Staten Island. And 15 megahertz WWV is very loud. RACRX7, nice to have you on board from South Carolina. 10 megahertz also. Let's check it out. Yeah, it's pretty good too. Absolutely. Look at that. Pretty cool. WWV 10 megahertz. David Provo, nice to have you here from Florida. Keegan is listening as usual with his Ethan Grundig edition Field Big T radio, and I keep kicking the camera around with my foot. Let me just position myself a little better here, because I am wearing my official Paul the Cat shirt. As you see here, best friends for life, Jill and Paul. So I am, of course, wearing the official cat shirt. So let's just move a little bit on that side. Try to be a little more. So what else do we have? Folt, nice to have you here, Folt from Northeast Tennessee. So Samuel Peterson says, I had a hard morning of work driving in 8 feet ground rod into the hill I live upon. Okay. Rob, thank you for the nice haircut. Okay, Wilbur, that's interesting. That is interesting. Actually, it's what's fun with the MLA30 is that it's easy to modify and change these things. So it would be nice, I should actually play around with that too, and even change the size and see if it improves or not. Kind of interesting. That's the fun part with the MLA30. It actually is easy to modify that. Mark Cope, African Pathways is good on 11965. Let's check it out. This is from Madagascar. Yep. Pretty good. So 11965 is African Pathways Radio. This comes from Madagascar Relay, which is more than 13,000 kilometers from here, which is crazy when you think about it. Robert Prosper says, take a walk in the park. Yes, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I will go take a walk tomorrow and do some videos. I'll bring the CountyComp GP5 for its easy tuning mode, and maybe bring the XH data and tune a little bit of shortwave in the park. I think it's going to be fun. Alan Willie, nice to have you on board from Newfoundland, Canada. Pretty cool. Robert Prosper, a good local park is better than a good movie, and it's free. Yeah, absolutely. Leon DJK, shortwave conditions are down at the moment, past 2 days, so low signal strengths. Austria 1 today morning was so noisy, I never heard before. Yeah, maybe it could be also that it's skipping over you. We're going into slowly transitioning the propagation is transitioning towards winter, and that has an effect on the different signals that we listen to. I noticed here that the maximum usable frequency has been dropping quite fast in the evening now. In June, late June, the sun sets at 9 p.m. in Montreal. At this time, I was looking at it earlier, the sun sets today around 6, something like 6:10 or 6:05 or 6:10 p.m., which is only an hour and a half from now, a little more than an hour and a half from now. So, when it gets to 8 or 9 p.m., the sun has been set for a while. I noticed a lot of signals in the higher frequencies aren't propagating very well. Kevin Wood, nice to have you on board from Nova Scotia. Rob says, your trees are amazing, reminds me of upstate New York. It's just crazy nice here. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, our hobby is positive, and we need to keep it positive, and we need to you know, just have fun. So African Pathways 11965.
On the event of October 1899, the board, descendants of the Dutch settlers,
I have nothing on 11985 here, David. So I don't know what you could be listening to. I know that in about 5 minutes, 11985 will have Radio Japan French from Madagascar. WOHP 1390, nice to have you here. W8PRR, good afternoon. No problem, Rob. I will be sharing. I'll be sharing a lot of pictures of beautiful trees. The next 2 weeks are going to be the most amazing on the street here, before the leaves fall, and then it's going to be all gray. Jean-Marc, nice to have you here, Jean-Marc Litz. Nice to have you on board. Dobie Allen says, non-ham question, the 2 beers behind you, what brand is that? I am a beer tester and tried a lot of beers, but this can seems unknown to me. So this one comes from a brewery in British Columbia, and it was a gift from Mickey Dalmage. It's a Shortwave beer. Shortwave beer. So it's kind of nice. It's very, very tasty. It's a West Coast Pale Ale. So this is the Shortwave beer. Comes from a British Columbia brewery. And this is the Yuengling traditional beer. So it comes from Pottsville, Pennsylvania. And apparently, so it's America's oldest brewery. And it is apparently the official beer you have when you go to Winterfest. And of course, this was a hint, because this is also a gift from Mickey Dalmage, with kind of the idea that I need to go to Winterfest. And so it's kind of a hint, come to Winterfest. And the beer that I'm having here, which is a triple Belgian ale, La Fin du Monde, which means the end of the world. This was Unibrew, was a local brewery here in Quebec that was opened by a Quebecois artist called Robert Charlebois, and but now it was sold to. So this is now sold to Sleeman, which is sold to Sapporo, which it's like, but they kept the brewery and the way that they do things, so that's kind of cool. And here we have Radio Japan, just popped up. It's Carrier 11985. That's from Madagascar Relay. Madagascar Relay also 11985. Pretty good signal. S9 at peaks. Matambale. I am used to drinking, so I probably have some tolerance to alcohol. I remember I went to a festival once with my brother and some friends, and there was a contest, of how many, I don't know, like a beer drinking contest or stuff. And I remember somebody said, "Hey, Gilles, you should participate in the beer drinking contest, because I've rarely seen somebody drink so many beers and still look almost normal." And my brother said, "Oh, if we had to have somebody drink to save our lives, Gilles the guy." Hey, PA1SBM. Nice to have you here, Alex. Long time no see. Brent, does sake cause much of a hangover? A lot less than beer. Honestly, um, if you drink the same amount of alcohol in drinking in beer or drinking in either sake or hard liquor, like vodka or a rum or whiskey, your hangover is a lot less of a problem on hard liquor or sake.
Pouvez-vous sauter en FM par satellite ou sur Internet? C'est Radio Japon, le service français de NHK World Japan.
Oops. So Radio Japan.
Une émission en langue française. Elles sont diffusées 2 fois par jour.
So this is Radio Japan 11985. This is from Madagascar. So and by the way, Brent, there was a show, well, a test done on the Mythbusters. They actually tested the myths about beer and hard liquor, and they actually gave the same amount of alcohol to 2 or 3 members, and they repeated that. So one night it was drinking beer only and having that amount of alcohol, and they tried it a week later, something like that, with vodka and whiskey, and they actually calculated the exact dose of alcohol that the body will take in, and they all 3 of them that participated all agreed that their hangover was much less of a problem with hard liquor than it was with beer. I don't know, it's the fact that a lot of beers have a lot of sugar and a lot more processing needs to be done on your body, but you get worse hangovers from beer. And actually, honestly, for the amount of sake we drank last night, me and my nephew, I was surprised to wake up this morning pretty, tired, but in pretty good shape, actually. William Helms, nice to have you here from Florida. Keegan has a 9-second delay. That's not bad, considering, the distance and the internet. George Baron, nice to have you here. What are the main reasons for West Coast sports shortwave listening at this time of year in Olympia, Washington? There are a few things that happens. First of all, a lot of signals come from Europe. And it's already a known fact that, for a long time, as long as I listened to shortwave, we had, people complaining that signals were always a little weaker in the West Coast. There are some spots in the world where shortwave has never been amazing for that, and the West Coast of North America is one. Australia is another spot where a lot of shortwave listeners would complain about weak signals. You also have a mix of different things happening, George, also. The fact that we are in the low part of solar activity, the ionosphere has a little more difficulty keeping the signals up there. And so that and the fact that the days are getting shorter that's changing a lot of our of the shortwave signals. On the other side of things, though, on the West Coast, you should have and still have some good signals coming out of Asia, like China or like New Zealand, Radio New Zealand. But conditions are changing, and it's not always unfortunately not always very good. When that solar activity could actually picks up, it's going to help, that's for sure. Yeah, I love the shirt. I like that shirt. When I saw it, it's a gift, and when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is nice. This is cute. This is really cute. Robert Prosper, have I ever spilled a cup of beer into one of my radios? Nope. And not on the computers also. Not on the computers also. I always, I'm rather careful with that. The worst that ever happened is the day that I purchased my new keyboard, the Logitech. I had to buy another one 2 days later. I rarely have soda here, but the day that I had purchased my wireless Logitech keyboard, I had a can of Coca-Cola, and I actually spilled the can of Coca-Cola in the keyboard, and I cleaned it out as much as I could. It looked okay, the keyboard worked, but 24 hours later, when I would press a key, it would stay stuck to the bottom of the keyboard, and it would take like 10 minutes to come back out. And when I started looking at that, I was like, okay, I'm screwed. I'm gonna get another keyboard. That's pretty much the worst that ever happened. PLF radio, what's the diameter of the MLA30 loop? I should actually note it down. I never remember the exact size. Does anybody have that information? Somebody posted that information the other day. Juan Amigo, nice to have you on board, my friend, from Spain. Trustin Patty says, in my hometown for Thanksgiving, a small town of 280 people, very little RF noise. The bands are wide open. RF noise makes a big difference. Oh, totally. It's really, honestly, noise is really, really what makes our hobby miserable sometimes. So, RACRX7, what radio are you using on the big screen? It's a SDR Play RSB1A receiver. That's on that screen. So D1 DJK, Madagascar, really no chance at the moment. Expectations are down. No problem, Jean-Marc. Matambale, by the way, is it really worth the money to rent an electric demo hammer for your local hardware store with a ground rod fitting and use that to pound the rod in no time at all? Maybe if it's really fast and doesn't cost much. Why not? Why not? Depends how much they charge, but sometimes when you want to do things and have things done really fast, I think it's not bad. Paul was not hungover. I was. No, I was not really hungover, honestly. Mark Elford, nice to have you here. La fin du monde gives me great headache memories. Danny Shortwave and Radio DX, nice to have you on board from cool and windy Yonkers, New York. Keegan, 11985 S5 out of S5. P1 SBM. Usually it's been too long. Lots of stuff going in my private life. Stuff is going better now. Should be joining more often. Well, I hope it gets better. These moments in life that sometimes, we aren't always fun. It's the ups and downs of life, but hope that things are getting better. Page Master is having a beer called Catfight. Oh. 6170 Radio Romania. Let's check it out. 6170. Do we hear that one here? Yep. Radio Romania 6170. And DRC, nice to have you on board.
If they want to push for early elections, then they should happen after the new year. Because this year the current president cannot dissolve parliament, given there are less than 6 months of him in office.
So 6170 Radio Romania in English, not bad, not bad. Danny Shortwave, estimated delivery of the MLA30 loop now pushed to October 15th from Los Angeles, California. Wow, will be 2 weeks. I avoided China and it still took almost 2 weeks. Wow, mine took 1 week from China. Actually, Here's the funny thing about that. I don't think it came from China. And I'm not the only one that has actually looked at that. There was a someone from the shortwave channel ordered one in the U.S. and he said, "Well, it took only a week, and it came from the stamp on the box is from Michigan." And you know what? I ordered one from the guy in China, but on my box, the stamp was from Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. Which makes me think that I've ordered from that guy, but that guy kind of had it sent to me from a place here in Canada. Because it took me only a week. And that place where you ordered, maybe they are ordering it from China and sending it to you afterwards. I don't know. But here it took a week, which was crazy fast. VE3KRP, nice to have you on board from a rainy Thunder Bay, Ontario. David in Barcelona, nice to have you here. Listening to Medium Wave 1233 on his ICOM ICR 8500 and the MLA 30 right now. Possibly Radio Dechovka from the Czech Republic, but still not sure about it. Wow, that's cool. That's cool. D1DJK, rain all the time here too, and poor shortwave conditions. It's better, really better to keep radio off. I hope it will be better soon when the weather comes better. Well, that's where sometimes it's interesting to change a little bit of our hobby. For example, one of the things I do in the winter time when propagation is bad is tune different bands. I'll tune the medium wave or the AM band and try to DX AM band stations, because whatever conditions we have, most of the time it's pretty good. And I actually did that this week. I took out the Texan AN 200 loop, and I took out my what radio did I use? I took out my Degen D1103, and I tuned medium wave for about an hour on, I think it was Thursday night. Not Thursday night, it was yesterday. Wednesday night. It's kind of cool. Hollywood One, nice to have you on board from New Jersey. And more Jello, please. Nice to have you here. Just found this channel while trying to pull up some harp audio samples. Cool. Well, welcome aboard. Hope you stay a regular viewer. Danny Shortwave says, wireless keyboards are the best. I have a few of them on my PC. Spilled beer on a couple of before. The Expeditions, nice to have you on board from Ottawa. And happy Thanksgiving to you too, my friend. What else do we have? More Jello, please, is... just going through the handbands, listening to the local scanner traffic. PLF radio, I asked because I can't find a diameter of the MLA 30 online. Yeah, it's... oh man. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Okay. So, MLA 30 loop. The MLA loop. MLA 30 loop. Somebody gave me the length the other day, and I should have kept it, taken note of it. I don't know, I can find it really quickly, but man. Calvin, nice to have you here, my friend. Nathan Valley, is the word money? Yes, yes. And the ERC Dan, Czech Republic just beating England and soccer football team in European playoffs. What else do we have? Billy Laptop, nice to have you on board. Says, just measured my ML diameter, 26 inches. Thank you, Billy Laptop. 26 inches. Jeff Barrett, nice to have you here, my friend, from a rainy Cincinnati. R. Walker, nice to have you here. Greetings, thanks, Joe, for your MLA30 versus W6LVP compare. Already owned the W6LVP, which is installed on a 50-foot mast and rotor for my RSP-1A, but will pick up an MLA30 for traveling portable use. For that, it's perfect because the W6LVP is pretty big. And for travel, it's not the best in the world because of its size. It's kind of a little tough, you know. It is, you know, possible because I mean when it's the loop can be kind of you know kind of collapsed if you want a little bit. But the MLA30 is smaller and much easier, honestly, for travel. So for traveling purposes and portable use, the MLA30 is perfect. The size isn't too big and it's pretty good. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board, my friend. It says, great show Wednesday on propagation. Thanks. Cool. A lot of people actually told me they learned a lot on the propagation characteristics and the shortwave on Wednesday. And, you know, it's one of those things where we got to understand it a little bit because it's not always super, you know, we don't always really understand much. And knowing a little more about propagation is something that helps in the hobby in general. Neon DJK 6170 here is FM station link. Brent also measured the loop MLA30. Thank you so much. 26 inches. Cool. The Expeditions. After watching your videos, I broke down and pulled the trigger on a new MLA30 loop. I don't know how many people will have purchased a MLA30 because of what I did and the reviews and the tests. And more videos coming up, by the way, on the Battle of the Loops, because I want to try it in different frequencies. And I actually had an idea for the upper frequencies. If I don't hear any signals, I will generate my own signals above 20 megahertz, sorry, and we'll be able to. I'll try to like put a signal, like a weak signal with some audio on it or something, and we can still compare the higher frequencies if I can't find anything to test it out with and see which is good on all the frequency ranges. Gotta say, the MLA30 is the way to go. If you don't have a loop, I now don't even understand why I should pay. After testing that out, I would not have purchased a W6LVP. The MLA30 is great. Billy Laptops is glad to help. Just put it together yesterday and it fits inside an indoor window frame, so it does not have to be outside. I used a mop handle and wire ties to support it. You know, if you don't have too much noise, there are a lot of people that I see that are actually installing it inside with pretty good performance. You know, I've seen quite a few people inside and having it in a window. Louis, nice to have you here. Just curious, do you never use the book WRTH, World Radio TV Handbook? So let's talk about the World Radio TV Handbook. I often get questions on WRTH. So the World Radio TV Handbook, and here's the 2017 edition. I plan on actually purchasing the 2020 edition when it comes out around Christmas probably. And what it is and what it's not, and that's the important thing to understand. So first of all, if you're buying the World Radio TV Handbook for schedules of stations and stuff like that, you're going to waste your money. That's not the main purpose of the World Radio TV Handbook. Yes, it does have schedules of stations, but they get outdated quite fast, as you guys know, and that's why online is the best place to get schedules for stations. If you want to have detailed information about those stations, contact information, transmitter locations, power used in the transmitters, people to contact for different things, and really a lot of the of details of the broadcasters. Now, the World Radio TV Handbook is an amazing book because it contains that information. If you're always searching or scrambling around for what's the email for that station, or what's the website for this station, or well, the World Radio TV Handbook has that, and it has information about not just shortwave broadcasters. It is the World Radio and TV Handbook, so TV stations from around the world, radio networks from around the world, medium wave, FM, and of course shortwave. So and there's some radio reviews, there are some propagation forecasts, stuff like that you can look at also. There are often a few articles about broadcasters and transmitter sites and so on. So for that information, that is an amazing book. But if you are buying it in hope of getting schedules for stations, look online. And by the way, you guys, if you want a QSL Transworld Radio in Swaziland that is still using a few frequencies, do it now, because Transworld Radio is leaving shortwave at the end of December. They are already going to lower the amount of time they spend on shortwave broadcasting at the new schedule season this coming October 27th. But they will completely cease shortwave transmissions on December the 31st of this year. So if you don't have a QSL card from them, and I need to check out, I think I do have one from Swaziland, but maybe I should do a reception report before they totally leave. Do it now. And one of the frequencies I've been hearing here at the evening around 0400 is 3240. Been hearing it a few times with the loop. Now's the time, because they are leaving for the shortwave bands at the end of December. D1DJK is so more gentle please says I'm getting out of the hobby for now, selling my stuff. Well, you shouldn't. Maybe you lost interest. D1DJK is getting Voice of America from Botswana 6195. Surprise, surprise. Maybe conditions are a bit better at the moment. 6195. It's there. I'm hearing it here. It's some music. So, Voice of America from Botswana. Let's go back up and check out the pirate bands. See if anything's there. Not seeing anything. Not really seeing much right now. Gander weather 6604. Gander 6604 Gander, Newfoundland, Canada. Okay, Pagemaster, working right now, Fire Prevention Week special event stations on amateur radio. Oh, really? Worked 8 stations, there's 4 more to go for a clean sweep. Cool! Danny Shortwave Radio DX, they must have a few distribution sites. They probably did order mine from China and then send to me for now. Yeah. Sometimes we want to... We want to check out, and get faster shipping, or we order from a local, And finally we get crappy shipping, and you're like, yeah, next time I'm just gonna order direct from China or something, you know. Man. One of the biggest problems with eBay sellers, and that's one thing, because Jeff Barrett is talking about ordered and paid it on September 30th. Is one of the things that I hate is sometimes they kind of lie a little bit on, oh, it's shipped. So when there's no tracking number, sometimes they'll, like, you know, you'll get an email like 24 hours after you order something, and it's going to say, oh, it's shipped. But in reality, no, it's not. But they just like, oh, yeah, it's shipped. And they ship it like a week or two after. I've seen that a few times when I look at the post information on the label. And you're like, yeah, it said shipped on the 4th, but in reality, the stamp here says it was on the 17th. It kind of lied a little bit here, you know. So, I was surprised. The one that I ordered I paid 44 US dollars, and was here in a week, which was crazy. So yeah, that's what we were saying, PDF Radio. We were saying about the fact that there are some people using loops indoors, absolutely. And I've seen quite a few people actually have really good reception indoors. It all depends on the noise you have and the structure of the house. Here I put the W6LVP in my office just to test. And it wasn't good here inside the home. It was really not good. So outside is really where I actually put it. Robert Prosper says AMDXing is what got me into radio. R. Walker, what do you think about the hit piece RTL SDR did on the MLA30? I posted a link to your videos in the comments and said the proof is in the listening. They fired back with some technical BS. Yeah, you know, there's quite a few people kind of, you know, talking about the loop and saying that it's crappy and that it's really no good and so on. You know, look at your setup. I got one guy on my channel that posted at least 4 or 5 comments and saying that's the crappiest antenna I've ever tested. Well, man, either the one you have is defective or you haven't set it up right. Because I'm sorry, that MLA30 kicks butt. It's just crazy. And you know, I posted also some of the videos of Battle of the Loops, because I got a tremendous amount of comments of people saying, well, yeah, you talk about the MLA30, but you haven't posted videos showing us the performance, so, you know, you're probably lying or something, which would be so stupid to do, because I already know that a lot of people trust my comments and trust what I say to make a purchase. I don't know how many people bought something because they said, you know, I trust your opinion because I have no reason to say the MLA30 is good if it's not. Absolutely not. Look at the Degen loop thing. That's the crappiest thing that exists. I said it. It was crappy, and that's it, you know. So it's pretty crazy. Robert Prosper says, okay, well, first of all, Danny Shortwave, they must be selling a bunch of those MLA30 loops all over the world. Demand must be growing after all those positive reviews. I wonder if the more expensive loop makers are losing some business. That's something we probably will never know, really. Unless we start seeing that some of the big loop makers start, you know, stop producing loops. One thing for sure is that I cannot tell anybody to buy any other type of loop or any other loop after testing out the MLA30. And so I would guess this is going to hurt the sellers of the Walbrooks. It's going to hurt W6LVP, Larry, for sure, because it's 10 times less expensive. You know, it's not like a $20 difference. I mean, if I had the choice and the price range was, you know, $20 or $40 difference, yeah, I probably would have bought the W6LVP for the fact that, well, you know, or it's made in the US. Or if something would be made in Canada, well, it's made in Canada. And I part of my buying experience, part of what I do, and by the way, guys, I'm 17 minutes behind in the chat, so I'm trying to catch up, okay? I do purchase stuff from local or North American places if they are within a competitive range of price for what I want before I'll buy it from China. But that said, I'm not dumb. 10 to 1, I'll buy that MLA30 from China. That's it. Robert prospers, the trade dispute between US and China impacted the cost of shortwave radio gear. It probably did. It probably did. Because, I mean, most of those stuff, most of the electronics are actually now taxed. So I would think that shortwave radios are in there, and they the price of some of those shortwave receivers probably have increased because of that. Here it's difficult for me to test out really, because the difference, one of the biggest difference here is the Canadian dollar is so low compared to when I purchased the radios 5 years ago. I mean, when I purchased receivers like in 2011, 2012, 2013, the dollar, the Canadian dollar was almost, or was even at par with the US dollar. So one Canadian dollar was worth pretty much one US dollar. And because eBay sells stuff in US currency, most of it, for me the prices are much higher because the Canadian dollar is now worth something like 75 or 74 cents for when you purchase a Canadian dollar, compared to being at par $1 with the US before. So the prices of the radio just like, you know, I buy a lot less on eBay now. I used to buy tons of things on eBay, but now the prices are so high because of the currency difference that I have really slowed down my purchases. So to give you an idea, just look at the MLA30, 44 US dollars. Well, that cost me 50. The price on my eBay was 59, something like 59.45 Canadian. So mine cost $60 Canadian. So for me, it's difficult to kind of check out, you know. Yep, 140 right now, NDRC. 140 right now. Mark Cope, China National Radio, I think, pretty strong, 11770. Do I have anything here? I haven't got anything here on 1177. Shitty Pyro 90, nice to have you here. David Provo, you should get a commission on the MLA30 sales. Yeah. William Collins says, did you check out the AOR LA400? It's small and portable, but very expensive. Yeah, I've checked that out also. But you know, yes, it is an FT450 right here. The Yaesu FT450. I didn't have time. I wanted to plug it in for today's show. I'll have it working next Friday. For sure. I wanted to plug it in and put it on W6LVP loop. Mark Fisher, nice to have you on board from Southern Illinois. Jerry DX, nice to have you here, my friend. My record high for the amount of people watching is like 161 or something like that. That's what we need to beat. 161, I think, is the highest number I've seen. Frank Artieta, do you have any experience with a HF regenerative receiver? I've never tried any of those. I've never tried. I would like to see those. I would like to see one and use one. Yeah, but D1 DJK, the World Radio TV Handbook is a worth purchase for a lot more information. It's there's a lot of the information about radio stations that are very difficult to find online, honestly. And if you are looking for details of contact information and so on, because you need if you want to have, you don't just get a the station contact email. You get their address. You get the people to contact. Who is the responsible QSL guy, or who is the responsible that guy? So honestly, if you are into not just QSLing but getting a lot of details of every station, it is worth buying. But if that information is of no interest to you, then that's where I put the World Radio TV Handbook into a category that's a little different. I would say, well, if it's just for schedules, no need to buy it. And honestly, I don't buy it every year. Look, I got this 2017. I'm going to buy the 2020. But I often skip 1 or 2 years. I used to buy it every year. when the Passport, the Roll Band Radio existed, I used to have both the Passport and the World Radio TV Handbook, and I would buy them every year religiously. So I probably bought the World Radio TV Handbook every year, like in the 90s, early 2000s. Like the Passport to World Band Radio that I missed dearly. That was a great book. Lee Burkett, nice to have you here. Been doing some Christmas shopping already. I've ordered a PlayStation Classic, and I've bought a TCM shortwave radio off the internet. I'm listening to Radio Romania with a loop. Cool. Shitty Pyro says cold but a little warm in British Columbia. Cold but a little warm. Nikki Dalmage, nice to have you here. Also note on World Radio TV Handbook is that they do updates on their website, and that is available for free. That is true. That is true. They do have updates of the schedules and the information available for free, absolutely. Brent says, Jean, back in the 1970s, the World Radio TV Handbook was the go-to book for shortwave info. Was highly priced and sought after. Well, that's the thing, because what changed with these books, and that is probably one of the reasons the Passport to World Band Radio is gone, is the fact that before the internet, that was the only references we had. I was so happy when I learned the existence of the Passport to World Band Radio. It was the blue pages with all the schedules. It was the book to go to. It was, today you go into those websites and you look at what schedule, what station is there. In 1988, 89, you would open the Passport to World Band Radio into the blue pages and say, okay, I'm listening to a French language station on 15245. What is that? And you would have all the stations using that frequency. That was the way we do it. The World Radio TV Handbook was also a good book because of that also. The information. We had the postal address of every station. We didn't have that unless we listened and listened and listened for ages, and some stations never give out their postal address. So back then, those books were extremely important because you had all the contact info and you had all the schedules. Today, the schedules are online and updated so frequently that they are extremely precise and they're quite interesting. So that took out some of the importance of these books. Jerry DX got his loop 5 weeks. Wow. I feel almost special to have mine in 1 week only. Bar, nice to have you here from Germany. Nick Mayakovsky. Oh my God, it's a Friday show. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Danny Shortwave says, yeah, next time I'm going to order from China. Oh, man. D1DJK still listens with an S350DL and telescopic antenna. PageMaster says the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection notified radio operators that they can no longer operate network repeaters, which makes ham radios possible by extending their range unless they pay significant rental fees. Really? Wow. Has the electricity been coming back in California? Frank Artieta, how about an antenna book and build your antennas? Absolutely, why not? If you have time and you like to do projects. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jerry DX says some stuff I ordered from China in the past came in super fast because it came from Chinatown in Toronto. But a lot of the stuff that I ordered, you know, there was a great increase in speed with Chinese products, because the last few radios that I purchased from China, the XH Data, the RadioWow, even some of the Texan receivers, it took like 10 days. It took like 10 days. Yeah, Jerry DX, absolutely. A lot of haters out there. What beer am I on tonight? I'm on the Fin du Monde beer. I have a big bottle of Fin du Monde as my beer tonight. What else do we have? E1DJK says, time is my key problem. I'm happy when I can listen evenings, some radio, but can't find time to build own antennas or technical radio stuff. Well, that's the thing, Jerry DX. You know what? When somebody posted a comment on my channel about the MLA30 loop, you know, what if it doesn't you know, do all the winter, or after winter it's broken? Well, the first thing that I thought of is, well, I will be able to buy an MLA30 loop every year for 10 years before actually having the same price tag as my W6 LVP loop. So, you know. IZ0KBA, nice to have you on board from Italy, I guess. Marco, Radio Nacional Amazonas, 11780. Let's check it out. Yeah, pretty good. 11780 Brazil in Portuguese. Keegan's dad is the ham radio operator, W9JEF. So that is Radio Nacional Amazonas, Brazil. Trustin Patty, take care, my friend. Always nice to have you here. Alberto Santos, nice to have you here from Portugal. Pretty cool. PageMaster bought a Realistic Pro 46 scanner that came in the mail today. Oh, cool. We're going to have fun with that. PLF Radio, nice to have you here. There are videos about the Texan PL990. I'll post the links here. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's kind of interesting. I'll be interested to see that for sure. It's going to be interesting to see the Texan 990. Frank Artieta says, I think a really great radio is a Realistic DX160 for your shortwave types and hams. There were a lot of Realistic gear that was pretty good, honestly. E1DJK says, okay, Joe, that makes sense to buy if you need the 100% contact address of persons and stations. Yeah, because for that, it honestly is great. It's honestly great. But you know, the World Radio TV Handbook is a reference for that type of information. The transmitter, you know, you got a lot of details of the transmitter sites of each broadcaster around the world, and for that, it is an amazing book. It is totally worth the price for that information. William Conlon, is the Wellbrook used by any of our listeners? Yeah, we have a few listeners, a few viewers that do have Wellbrooks, and that seem to enjoy them for sure. What else do we have? Keegan plans to be licensed too sometime. You know, it's like me here. A lot of people come back to me always with you know, oh well, you know, you need to be a ham. You need to be. Yes, I wanna, and I wanna. Honestly, I will do and pass a test. It's all a question of time, a question of many things, honestly. And you know, a lot of people talk about how, because I'm happy listening, honestly. But I know that, you know, once I have my license, I'll be happy to talk also. But you know, it's all a question of having the time to do everything, and I will try to find the time for that too. Jeff Barrett says, I love the Monitoring Times magazine. Well, Spectrum Monitor is a good replacement. It is and has the feel of Monitoring Times. The only thing is to you know, it's an electronic publication. You don't have a paper one, but it is and feels the same as Monitoring Times. Page Master, next Saturday I will pay a visit to Glenn Hauser since he lives 108 miles northwest of my location. Cool. Say hi from the from Gilles in Montreal. He knows who I am. The Wellbrook is even more expensive in Canada than the W6LVP loop. The reason I purchased the W6LVP loop is because it was less expensive than a Wellbrook in Canada. The one in JK says, yes, I did it the same way. The German WRTH was our sender and frequenzen. For every station you had to have a look in that schedule book to identify stations. I had quite a few of those books in the 80s, but I was kind of cheap, so I didn't want to pay, and I would ask for that book because it was so amazing with all the schedules. But I think it was the third time that I asked for a free sample. It was written on the cover of the book, "This is your last free book. Next time you got to pay." Oh man. Reader was Emily 30 miles, cut coax left, 15 centimeters, drill hole, and for a BNC connector. Call small coax, one turn inside case. Okay. What else do we have? Jeff Barrett says, I heard that 2 million people without power in California, fires are getting banned. Because the only reason I knew, you know, that is a great example of how our media talks about whatever they want and sometimes ignores things that are kind of important. I have not heard anywhere in local media here in Montreal about the California fires. The only reason I know is 2 things. One, because some of the tech networks that I watch videos are based in California and they're offline. They've been offline for several days now because of power outage. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. That must be a big power outage. And then on Wednesday was here on the chat, people saying, yeah, they cut the power because of fires. Really? Why don't they don't even talk about it in the news here? Danny Shortwave Radio DX says, bought both the XH Data D808 and Radio R108 from AliExpress. Both arrived within 1 week. Cool. Jerry DX, have you ever tried the Oktoberfest beers from Munich, Oktoberfest from Germany? If so, which one is the best? No, I've never, and that would be nice. That would be nice, honestly. Jason Shaughnessy, nice to have you here. Do you have your MLA30 mounted up high? Does height make much of a difference? Thanks, love the show. Jason, a loop antenna doesn't need to be mounted very high. And even in the, it was the W6LVP instructions that actually said, you know what, if you mount it like, 12 feet out of the ground, you won't have better reception if it's mounted, 50 feet off the ground. It won't change much. What will change your MLA30 mount and is mostly two things. Try to have it as clear as possible from buildings. So if there's a lot of buildings around you, mounting it higher might actually help because you'll be higher than the buildings surrounding you. But probably the number one thing will be mounting it in a place where the noise is the lowest possible. And that will be the place where you want to mount it. So here I mounted my W6LVP loop. So I live on the 3rd floor, which is the top floor of this building. So I am lucky in a way because I am already higher. So that probably does help. If I would live, like at the 1st floor, it'll be maybe a little more difficult. I don't know. I mounted it in the backyard balcony. I mounted it in the front balcony. Notice that the front balcony had less noise. So that's why I mounted in the front balcony. It's also nice because it's closer to my radios. So there's less length of coax between the antenna and the radio. So the height of the loop doesn't change that much. Really, it's positioning it well with the lowest noise where you are, and that's mostly the most important thing, probably. Michael Woods, nice to have you on board. Yeah, going well here. Frank Artieta, I've seen 10 meters open all night before. It takes a bit of solar flux for that. Actually, when it's open all night, it's not even the solar flux. It's sporadic E-skip most of the time. Because even in very high solar activity, the 10-meter band tends to, okay, with high solar activity, I would guess that through the pole, for example, 10-meter band might be open late at night. But most of the times, it's really sporadic E-skip. The sporadic E-skip can keep the 10-meter band open all night easily. Keegan has 11780 as 5 out of 5. William Condon has the loop working into Europe. Works great. Michael Satterfield, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Bonjour, hi from Greenfield Park. Be careful, Sheldon. The language police will come to you, come after you with the bonjour, hi. Like, that's the most important thing that we have to deal with here in Quebec and Canada. Keegan has 14670 CHU. Wow, cool. Jeff Barrett, 11780, copied in Cincinnati, needing the sync on the Sony ICF 7600 to pull it through. Simon Templar, nice to have you here. Realistic DX440 was pretty good. And yeah, Stangian built radio. A lot of radios, actually all the radios, the realistic receivers, most of them were built by other manufacturers, basically. That's pretty much what happened. Wow. What the hell? What do we have here? No, loop doesn't need to be installed very high, honestly. It's not something that you need to do. The Uniden CR 2021. I've never heard of that model. Let me check that out here. Uniden CR 2021. No, that's a different radio. That is a different radio. Wow, I've never seen that receiver ever. Made in Taiwan. Wow, I'm starting to wonder here. Let me just check that out. The CR 2021 can store 6 FM. It's similar, but features an S meter analog, an analog S meter, than rather an LED S indicator. So that's what it says here. The Realistic DX 400 is similar, but features an analog S meter rather than an LED S indicator. So they're close. They're close. R. Walker, having listened to a lot of hams, I'm content to remain a shortwave listener. You know, that's where you might need to, be a ham to improve upon what amateur radio is all about. WF7I, nice to have you here. You need coax switches and a ham license. Happy Friday from Virginia. Nice to have you here. Well, I will have a switch. I will have a switch. Good soul. You guys have seen her in the chat room from time to time. Marissa AV is actually put in the mail a antenna switch box for me yesterday. So that means that I'll soon have an antenna switch box where I will actually be able to switch antennas properly rather than unscrewing the cables. So I want to thank you, Morrison AV, for that. So that's coming in the mail, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I will get my M license at some point. I know a lot of you guys also would like to talk to me on the air, that's for sure. Jeff Barrett, have you ever tried any Three Floyds beers, ales? No. I need to check out more beers. I was looking at the beers today, and I was thinking that when I go to the liquor store, because they have some imported beers that are kind of amazing. There's a place I've not gone to that Fastload in the chat room always talks about to me, and it's a place where they got like it's a place called the Paradise of Beers or something like that. And he told me, you need to go there. You will be amazed at how much choice there is. What else do we have? What else do we have? Joey D, nice to have you here. Just got done scanning the bands, and it's busy but noisy in New Jersey. Okay. Take care, NDRC. Always nice to have you guys on board. Anything else? DXing on a hot air balloon. That must be kind of interesting. That must be kind of interesting, especially for VHF, UHF range. Being so high up, that could be nice. Joey D, whatever happened to the shortwave listening post chat room? Well, you know, there are ways. One of the biggest problems with the chat rooms, you know, those that have been following for a long time, we were in that IRC chat room at some point, but the problem is that, you know, you gotta join that, and you gotta check 2 chat rooms. And you know, I used that a lot when I was on Google Hangouts, because Google Hangouts didn't have chats, which was very, very bad. That was the worst thing, is not having a chat capability on Google Hangouts back then. And then, of course, I came to YouTube Live because Google Hangouts would not do live streaming anymore here in Canada a couple of years back. That's why I moved to, and I was forced to move to YouTube Live. And this chat room is actually so convenient and so easy, and it's nice because if you guys watch the show that is recorded, the chat room is also recorded. So it's kind of cool because you watch the live show, you watch the repeat of the show, and you see the chat going through. So you see what people were talking about, you know. Man. No politics. All I know is there's the more I listen to the politics in Canada, the more I think is like, well, really nobody is worth my vote. I will vote. I always vote, but come on, we got a bunch of idiots, and they're all idiots. Oh, Pagemaster did work for station WW0WWV. Cool. Ray Lyle, nice to have you here. Listening while I work on project WA9212SWL in Southern Illinois. Cool. Nice to have you here, my friend. Voice of America warming up transmitter 15120. Yeah, let's try that frequency if it comes in here. 15120. It's there. Not very strong, but it's there. Lots of fades. Wow. Man, I'm not sure I've ever heard WJHR in Milton, Florida so strong. 15555 upper sideband. 15555 upper sideband. I've always wondered why they use upper sideband, and I've always wondered how many people are listening to WJHR, honestly. What else do we have? Let's go down. Jim Carr, nice to have you here. Do you know if the MLA30 works inside the attic? For the most part, yes. I've seen a lot of people use it and use loop antennas in their attics with very, very good results. So I would guess that it probably would work quite well, honestly, Jim. Toby Allen, what about number stations and the Russian radio signals? Is there still such sites to listen to? There's a lot of number stations, Toby Allen, and if you go to preom.org website, you will see the list, and the amount of number stations is still pretty high and quite active from Russia and so on. And I've seen a lot of articles about the Russian Navy using shortwave quite extensively. In the utility column that I posted this month on in the Messenger, I talk about the mysterious CW Morse code channel markers that are broadcast from Russia, and there's quite a lot of them, and there's a lot of signals coming out of Russia. It's just that there's nothing if you're, you know, there's no international broadcaster anymore, but there's a lot of stuff. What else do we have? KS Banjo, nice to have you here, Don. N0YO. Been a ham for 25 years and still spend a lot of time just listening to shortwave, mostly utilities. And you know what? What's interesting about the ham radio operators, and I always remember, oh, this one's missing. I always remember so many times I've read the best ham radio operators are the guys that listen. And unfortunately, there are quite a lot of there that don't listen enough. David, don't know what's up with YouTube, but I have given Joel the thumbs up 3 times. It happens sometimes. You know, the funniest thing, David, is one day I was looking at, so, you know, the YouTube stats are a little weird. I posted a video, and about 6 hours later I look and it says 0 views. And I'm like, what? Did I post it private? Did I accidentally posted it as a private thing? And no, everything's all right and it's public. But then I noticed the thumbs up. And so the views are 0, but the thumbs up, there's 14 thumbs up. And I'm like, oh, okay. 14 thumbs up, but 0 views. That is convenient. Jim Carr says, listening last night, 40 meters was clears for hours. So that's pretty cool. Samuel Peterson getting S5 all over 915 megahertz using a Radio Shack 75 feet wire antenna and is S350DL. Cool.
So let it be number 488.
When I hear that piano songs on that religious station, it reminds me of WIFR. They had kind of that type of programming. Well, I don't think it's Christmas. It's religious related music more than that. Robert Prosper, 15 megahertz, Upper Sideman. How many people can listen to anything up there? Well, you know, I always wondered why they chose to put a upper sideband transmitter of a station. I always wondered. I always wondered, honestly. Oh, man. Well, 20 meters is pretty active, honestly, Robert. If I look here at 20 meters, I've got, so somebody's here. So there's a station here. There's a station on 14320. There's something on 14243. Is that a Jamaica station? I wouldn't be surprised that station was from Jamaica. I don't see any reports here, but that's one of the stations there. There's quite a few stations on 20 meters right now, actually. What else do we have? Hey Burkett, hoping to make my radio scanner out and about this week, Joe, but our UK weather is changing now. Yeah, well, here too. Here it's changing fast. I mean, October is that month where anything can happen, and November is that month where you can wake up one morning and it's white everywhere with snow. Joey D loves listening to MWRA or Mwara stations in the aeronautical stuff. You know what, Brent? I don't know. I've never ordered from AliExpress, honestly. So I can't really say if it's better than eBay or not. I don't know if somebody else has experience with AliExpress versus eBay. What would be better? KS Banjo, where are you at club last night? Is that a tattoo on your hand? I was. This is not a tattoo, but it's a stamp. I was at a Japanese sake festival last night. Ray Lyle, do your neighbors ever wonder what you're up to with wires and loops everywhere? You know what, Ray? My immediate neighbors here never ask any questions. Never. But there's a few neighbors that I talk to around, and there's this lady in the back that has a little house. And, you know, I always try to be... The loops are difficult to be discreet about because the loops are pretty, you know, especially W6LVP loop is very easy to see. And, you know, I always try to put up antennas that people have the least amount of possibility to see because I don't want to attract attention for several reasons. Not just the fact that, you know, I don't want to have people noticing I have antennas, but, you know, it tells burglars that you got equipment probably at home. So when I put up my sloper antenna, I thought, you know, the wire's thin and I don't think that anybody's going to see anything. So I put it up at night so nobody notices anything. And the neighbor in the back, the lady looks at me and says, you know, maybe like a month after I installed it, I was talking to her because we meet up here because she takes these walks every day. And we started talking, you know, a few years ago, and so sometimes we have a talk. And one night, about a month after I installed the wire, she says, "Oh, what's that wire you have in the backyard?" Wow, you notice I have a wire in the backyard. I mean, unless you know it's there, it's really difficult to see. And so it's like a wire in my backyard. Yeah, well, and I started telling her just quickly, well, I listen to stations from all around the world and blah, blah, blah. And she found it, you know, kind of nice. But I'm pretty sure my neighbors, although they never talk about it, you know, they're probably looking at it and it's like, what the hell is that? What is that guy doing? What are these round things on the balcony? You know, do they think they're antennas or not? I'm not even sure. Oh, man. Samuel Pearson's been a shortwave fan ever since the 70s. I started, I've started in roughly probably 1979, 80. Actually, my first personal entry into radio listening was in around 77, 78, because my sister had purchased a Ernie, in Sesame Street, Bert and Ernie. I had a Ernie and the Bathtub AM radio, and I started listening to radio with that. And I remember at the end it was so the 9-volt battery thing was broken, and I would put just the wires in the 9-volt battery and hold it with a piece of tape and close the door and hope that it still worked well. And that was my first entry into the world of radio personally. And then my dad purchased around 1980, I would say, is my first big entry into radio and what we can listen. The interesting part of that is he purchased a multi-band radio that had VHF, UHF, and something I wondered then was SW1, SW2. And I was like, what is SW exactly? I had no idea. And one night I listened to the BBC World Service without even knowing what it was. All I heard was, this is BBC in London, and in my head, my pre-teenage ignorant head was like, London, Ontario, Canada? Because I had no idea what the BBC was exactly. And of course later I understood, oh, that night I heard the BBC World Service from England. And I did a lot of listening, and I remember my friends in the street, you know, the neighbors that you play with that are not necessarily your friends, but when you're a kid, you adapt to the situation. You play with the people that are around you. So I would play with, you know, my neighbors. That's where I learned English, because my neighbors were Italian and they didn't speak French. So that's where I learned English, actually. My first language is French, and I spoke French for a long time, and that was my only language. And I was maybe, I don't know, about 6 or 7 years old, and I started playing with my Italian neighbors, and they were only speaking English. And it was so funny because their mom was always saying, hey, Gilles, speak French to Johnny. Speak French to Franco, because they have to learn French. But I didn't do that because I was so happy to be speaking English. I was happy to learn English. So I would always speak in English with them. And even if we had like continued for a long time, I probably would speak Italian also, because I mean, I had started to learn some of the Italian language. And so I remember taking out that multi-band radio. And the funniest part was my neighbor that was on the other side of the street saw me with the radio one time and says, what's that? What are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm listening to airplanes. And I remember he looked at me and says, airplanes? Nobody can listen to airplanes. You need super, you know, expensive and some really, really big equipment. And I said, no. And I tuned the frequency. And like it took maybe, you know, 30 seconds. And he heard, oh, this is Air Canada 916. And he says, did you just say Air Canada? Yep. You're listening to the airport and to airplanes. And he was amazed. He was like, oh, you're listening to airplanes? For real? Yeah. So that was really my start. And I was amazed with that. And I guess was pretty much in 1982, I had spotted that, I know I've told that story a million times, but some of you have not heard it. I was at Radio Shack and I saw the Realistic DX100. It was on sale. They sold it for like 150 usually, but it was on sale for 99 bucks on that day, or for a month. So they had like these, you know, monthly sales basically. And I remember I looked at the radio and I thought it looked so cool. And I thought $100 is in a possible range that I could maybe get it. And I did all sorts of chores and I did so many things. And by the end of August, I had 50 bucks. And I was like, okay, there's a week left and there's no possibility I'll have $100. And I think it's because my dad had a pay raise. He had like a good pay raise. He came home one afternoon and he looked at me and says, how much you got for that radio? And I said, well, I got 50 bucks. And he said, how about I give you that other 50 bucks that's missing and you go get it right now? And I thought, wow, really? Really? Because, you know, he'd seen me go to the Radio Shack store like a dozen times and look at the radio and drooling all over the counter. And that afternoon, I got the money. I went to Radio Shack. I remember, you know, when you're 13, I remember thinking, wow, I've got $100 in my pocket, which was, I think, the biggest amount of money I've ever had in my pocket at one point at that age. And I was like, I got $100 in my pockets. Wow. And I went to Radio Shack. And I remember coming home with that big box, walking. And Radio Shack was like, I don't know, 15-minute walk from my home. Walking with that box and looking at the box and just being so excited about what I'm going to have. I'm going to open that box and I'm going to actually, you know, have that radio working today. And I can't wait to plug it in and see what I can hear. And the manual that came with it that I probably read 100 times. And that's pretty much the story of why I'm here, actually, honestly. David, oh, interesting. Notice that something on VOA, something on Voice of America 15120 is bazooka dipole for 40-meter band. Receives a pretty nice signal and nothing on the MLA 30. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Jim Carr, I have the MLA 30 mounted on a pole on top of a fence. But the HOA wants me to hide it better. Yeah. Terry Cook, nice to have you here. KF7BQ in Montana. Oh, man. Well, you know what, David? Actually, the MLA 30 works as well as the W6LVP. Like on that frequency, I would have the same signal. But I noticed one thing is that the higher you go on frequencies, the less these loops seem to perform well. What I have noticed, and that's pretty much what I would say, is that if I would compare a signal of on my like on 20 megahertz between my sloper in the backyard, and my loops on the high frequencies, 20 megahertz or above, the 20 megahertz or above, the sloper pretty much beats both the W6LVP loop and the MLA 30. Both perform pretty much equally, but they're not as efficient, and so the sloper does better, and the sloper really does better on the higher frequencies. Where the loops kill is really below 10 megahertz. They kill. They're really amazing. 10 to 15, they'll pretty much have the same signals. But above 20, that's where it's going to be interesting to also test that a little bit. Yeah, Mickey Dalmage, yeah, I know that's the reason why they use upper sideband, because it really is more efficient than electricity. But still, who is, Samuel Peterson's been away more than a month after the MLA 30. Maybe what happened is so many people now ordered an MLA 30 because of my videos. Jamaica, Queens, New York. Really? Wow. Take care, PLF Radio. Take care, Simon Templar. See you next Wednesday. JRDX bought from AliExpress and had no problems. David says used AliExpress several times, never had any issues. Matteo CDC, I am from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Take care, D1 DJK. Nice to have you here as usual. Hey, Ernie Turner. Nice to have you on board. VK3DET from Australia. Joey D, believe it or not, my first venture into radio was buying a Midland weather monitor and my neighbor's CB blading into my speakers. I was hooked ever since. We all have, you know, some experience of something that just magically made it, like, you know, made it really, really amazing. KP45, does Glenn listen to this show? I'm not sure Glenn ever listened to this show, but he knows they exist. That I know. And I always talk about his World of Radio website and World of Radio podcasts are always, shows are always amazing. Nicola Hughes, nice to have you here. David Snyder, what frequency? 15555 upper sideband. Or the AM radio operator? 14.1. Right now on 14.175 upper sideband, and you hear that guy talking. There's a strong station here on.
North and South Carolina. 7-3. I hope you have a good weekend and enjoy your radio. CU2ARA from KK6BT.
So there's some activity on the 20 meter band. Rufus Newt, nice to have you on board from the Laurentian Valley, Ontario. Oh, I got the sun right in the face, setting down right now. Setting down to the southwest. Lee Burkett, while I'm out in the daytime, Joel, I leave the BBC World Service on my DAB for my cats to listen to. They love the channel because I always listen to it when I'm not DXing shortwave. Rob says, I remember this epic story. It is a nice story. Hey, John, what's number on US? Nice to have you here from Brazil. Smokey Bear. Hey, salut. How is Mr. Smokey Bear? Fast load. My MLA30 and dipole have about the same performance minus the noise, above 10 megahertz. Eyebrawler, would you say in a low noise area a long wire antenna would beat a loop antenna overall? I would say that in a remove the noise around my house. I would say that a wire antenna is probably sufficient. A nice long wires probably is good. But it's not directional. Well, it's directional if it's very, very long. But usually if you have a wire that's less than 100 feet, it's not very directional. The longer you have, like if you put a beverage, a very long wire, it's super, now it gets super directional. But the short wires below 100 feet aren't very directional. And I would say that if you put up 100 feet of wire in a quiet place, you don't really necessarily need an MLA30 loop. But that said, it's very directional. On some signals, especially on very low frequencies like medium wave, the MLA30 will have a very good advantage because you can null out stations that interfere with what you want to listen to. But in noisy environments, that's where the loops get their really, really nice performance. They tend to be less noisy. Fastload says AliExpress is good, never had problems. Cool. Tech Guy, nice to have you here. Fastload says, you shall make me get back into the hobby. I know. Actually, before, you know, the funny story with Fastload is that I met Fastload in the same karaoke bar that I go to, and we probably didn't speak to each other much for several years before we started having a conversation of some sort. And Fastload is the kind of guy that you don't necessarily talk to much because he's always in his little corner, you know. And I'm on the other side of the scale. I'm the guy that's everywhere and talks to everybody, which is probably why we talked anyways at some point. And it's funny because when we started talking, even then it took a while for us to talk about radio or anything. And then Fastload and you know, noticed that there was another radio geek around, and we started talking about radio a lot more. And actually, I think it's that first time we actually had a conversation about radio that you thought, oh man, I need to you know, take that radio out and plug it in again and listen. David in Barcelona says that pretty much my assessment of MLA 30, above 20 meters, my dipole is clearly better, and between 80 and 20, both antennas work as well. You know, on long wave, medium wave, MLA wins. Fastload, I have a power injector for you, so you can use battery or another power supply on MLA 30. Oh, really? Oh, cool. Cool. That'd be nice. That'd be very nice, honestly. Slow scan TV and 14244. Really? That's a high frequency for a slow scan. Let's 14230 just for the fun of it. See if anybody's doing any slow scan just for the sakes of checking it out. Free Saxon, nice to have you here, my friend. Hey guys, I'll have a public. How do you say it in? This is a public message announcement or something like that. If you enjoy what I do, don't forget that you can help me out by doing a little something, which is a PayPal donation. PayPal.me/shortwave, or just go to PayPal and send it to the Yahoo email that I'm posting here. It greatly helps out. I mean, it's really something that has helped me tremendously over the years. And you can, of course, you know, tell me, hey, I want to give you this, but it's you know, for a new radio or an antenna or whatever, some gear. You can specifically say where that money needs to go, and I will actually honor that. It could be, you know, for Polycat food. It could be just because you like what I do. And if you do, please think about a little something that can help me out. Remember that I'm here twice a week, and that basically, you know, it's a job, and it's something that you can help out if you wish. I have more expense with the internet. I have to buy equipment, lighting systems to make sure that everything is right. And you know, I buy equipment, and you like my antennas. You know, maybe you bought the MLA 30, you're enjoying it, and that prevented you from buying a $500 loop. Well, why not spare a little bit of that extra change that you saved, thanks to the fact that I do this. And of course, if you do enjoy the show, please consider a little something. It really helps out, and thanks for the donations. No, I don't turn on super chat. You know why, PA1 SBM, Alex? I don't want to have that You know, it's like I could do this. There's somebody that told me, you know, you should have a paid shortwave show or a paid show of some sort. And but I don't want that. I don't want to have an exclusive club of people that can watch because they have the money to do so, and push the other people that don't have any money or the possibility to help out out of the way. Or I don't like to have I don't know, some kind of difference like that with money. It's, you know, already just asking for donations is the part of the show where I'm not super comfortable, honestly. And but you know, I don't want to create that difference between people, you know. Yeah, I know, but there's so much, you know. It's something I don't, you know. If you want to donate, I'd rather have it more in the like an anonymous way, where everything's just, you know. Matambali 13640 CRIs S8 carrier, no audio. 13640. Anything here? Absolutely nothing here. Let's check out Spain. Should be in English. Spain 9690.
Information, and also the architecture is beautiful because we have this upper space where we will use for some moments of the prayer and for some other moments. So I was going to be able to see this chamber opera very well connected with the space, with the architecture. So I think it's a very, very, very unusual and wonderful experience to see and listen opera in this Palacio de Medina Feliz.
Yes, and apparently, well, your approach to Verdi is to emphasize the sonoric aspect of his music. That is, the music is really an integral part, or it's hard to say, but more than other authors of opera, creators of opera.
So 9690, Radio Exterior de España. Says Matambali says strong 10 over S9. Cool. Pretty good. Pretty good. There's a lot of signals on so we got WWV. 10 megahertz is not bad.
From Poseidon is about 30 kilometers.
Voice of Turkey. Voice of Turkey 9830. Voice of Turkey in English 9830.
But it plans to widen the space zone, not limiting it to 120 kilometers distance. The whole border between Turkey and Syria must be a safe zone, he added. Chaushov also said the terrorist YPG in Syria hold Daesh terrorists as a victim, adding the YPG fought against Daesh to expand its area in the region and to divide Syria. He reiterated that Turkey is taking responsibility for Daesh terrorists and their families. And President Emmanuel Macron wants to
So Voice of Turkey 9830 in English. Coming in not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. As we're tuning in some of the shortwave signals. What else do we have? Anything else in? So we've got. Well, let's check Kamali the other day. It was really good. It's much weaker. I've got some kind of interference. It's not very strong. It's the other day. It was amazing. The other day, Mali on 5995 was amazingly strong. Really, really amazing. Eddie Essex, what's the best karaoke bar in Montreal? Well, no doubt it's you can go and check it out. If you ever come to Montreal, this is the place for karaoke, Bar Zoe, which is actually about 10 minutes walking distance from my home. That's where I go when I want to sing my heart out. It's really it's the best in Montreal. Keegan, 9690, Radio Exterior España, S5 out of S5, fading at times. So this is interesting. So Mali is there, but it's not as strong as the other day. 5995 is Mali in Africa. It is in French right now, actually. Circuitous Vibes, nice to have you here. 10 minutes tumbling distance. William Conlon, it's 0 UTC. Remember that time. It's 0 UTC. That's Thursday in Europe. It's actually Thursday morning. So Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Pacific. But in Europe, it's actually Thursday morning because it's past midnight. It's 0 hours UTC, which technically is Thursday because we've changed at UTC time. We have changed to Thursday. That's all you got to remember. Let's check out Pirate Band. Okay. 6501. 6501 is Chesapeake, Virginia marine weather. 6501 upper sideband.
Southwest in the afternoon. Seas 3 to 4 feet. Wednesday night. Southwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Bahamas north of 22 north tonight. Northeast winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Saturday.
6501 upper sideband, Chesapeake, Virginia weather. Yeah, I know for you guys in Europe, it's a very late show. It's like middle of the morning. Keegan asks 10715. Let's check it out. The Cuban number. Oh, it's pretty good too here. Really strong. 10715. Cuban number, lady. If you look for 10715 HM01. The Cuban numbers. Pretty good. Pretty strong tonight. Circuitous Vibes. I don't know if this is off topic, but I have been trying to get something on 11175, which is the U.S. Air Force, I think. I live very close to a U.S. Air Force base, and I would think I could hear it something, but I never do. Does anyone know where the U.S. Air Force broadcasts come on 11175? They come from multiple places, but I'll give you here the list of the different frequencies. Try them. They all simulcast pretty much. 4724, 8992, 11175, 13200, 15016. There's one in 6 megahertz, and I forgot. If you guys can post it, try those, and you'll hear it for sure on one of those frequencies. Maybe 11175. It's not impossible that from where it's broadcasting, it might skip over you actually, or it's just not the right frequency for you. So check it out. These are the frequencies. There's one in 6 megahertz. 6, man, what is the frequency? 6, 7 something. It's the only one I don't remember ever. It's 4724, 8992, 11175, 13200, 15016. It's just the 6 megahertz I never remember. Let's check out 4724 upper sideband. And make sure you're in upper sideband also, because it's upper sideband. Because there's a lot of activity. Usually if you stay on one of those frequencies, you'll hear it. Oh, interesting. One of those Bush radios from the northern Quebec, 5270 in French. This is from northern parts of the province of Quebec. So this is French, very French Quebecois. Fast load tomorrow. I'm going to get back to you on that. I will contact you tomorrow morning, fast load. Okay. I'm gonna see how the day goes because of you know what, and I'm gonna contact you tomorrow on Messenger, fast load, and we'll see if we can maybe meet up somewhere or just meet up for you know, have fun and just have a little day of radio or something. So look for my message tomorrow morning. Jerry DX got some activity a while ago on 5275. Jeff Barrett says these are Air Force bases that broadcast. They come from Andrews, Edwards, McClellan, Offutt, Ascension, Icum, Tool, and Elmendorf. Yeah, they are different places around the world. Yeah, 6739. Thanks, Terry Cook. 6739 is the other one. Matambali has Trenton Military on 15034. Pretty good. Nothing here on the 15034. It's one of the frequencies I don't hear very often. It skips over most of the time, Matambali. 6754 is really the frequency if I hear Trenton Military Volumet in Ontario. Most of the time. Anything else here? Let's check it out. Let's check it out. No pirate activity. Nothing much on the pirate bands. Checking out what else is there here. Yeah, nothing much happening. RTTY. Yeah, 53, 57 with tons of FT8. Not much happening here, but there's a lot of activity on the bands, actually. A lot of activity on the bands. Sheldon Harvey, some of the special ham stations are gearing up for the CQ Worldwide SSB contest at the end of October. Stations from Belize, St. Lucia, Anguilla on this afternoon. Cool. Cool. And I like, you know, I know that a lot of hams have problems with ham contests. But I like ham contests because it's that time where you hear, countries or places that you never hear usually. And I always like that for that reason. I know it annoys the hell out a lot of like rack chewers that just like to talk, but I always like the CQ Worldwide SSB contests and stuff like that. Lee Burkett, 6 megahertz on my shortwave sounds like religion. Just 1160 megahertz is evangelistics broadcast from yeah, 11.6 is, I think it's you're listening to WWN. But 6 megahertz, there's a lot more than that. On 6 megahertz, Bart from WWCR 6115, and what is it? 6090 is Anguilla, and the bottom part is once again WWCR with religious stuff. There's a lot of stuff in there. Joe Sumberland, US. Mr. Joe, have you decoded digital Radio Mondial signals these days? I've received this kind of signal every week, 19 meters. I have tried a few times lately, and I can tell you one thing. My signal to noise ratio is too high, so it doesn't get, I get a couple of green bars saying, yeah, you're almost there. I can get the ID of the station that's broadcasting. I never get audio out of it because it just isn't good enough, unfortunately. Radioactive, NOAA weather voice broadcast 8764. Let's check it out here at 8764. Yeah, pretty good too.
Midnight.
8764.
3 to 4 feet. Monday. Southeast winds 10 to 15 knots. East 3 to 4 feet. Monday night. Southeast winds 10 to 15 knots. East 3 to 4 feet. Tuesday. South winds 10 to 15 knots. East 3 to 4 feet. Tuesday night. South winds less than 10 knots.
This is also Chesapeake, Virginia weather. By the way, guys, I just noticed that if you use the eibispace.de website for schedules, they actually is updated the schedule list today. Yeah, David, exactly. The work bands are that. When there's major contests, the work bands are there to for rack chewers, absolutely. PageMaster, amateur operators on 5371.5. 5371.5. I like it when I hear some ham operators. On the ham bands on the 60-meter band that talk. Trimbali, Mr. Bale. I say, have you here? I'm another shortwave geek. My dad is the top licensed ham. Cool. Well, welcome aboard, my friend. Where are you located? Let us know where you're located. Terry Cook, there will be some activity next Thursday relating to Shake Up America earthquake preparations, so local nets and 60-meter interop frequencies. Ah, interesting. Jeff Barrett, do you have your technician license? I hope to take my general license test before the end of the year. Busy time of year, unfortunately. I am not a ham licensed yet. William Condon, RD icon like yours, much to buy here in Ireland. You know, when I see how SDRs perform, like the SDR Play RSP1A, I have more and more difficulty telling someone to buy an expensive ICOM receiver or anything, because they're just so amazing. Shambali, Mr. Bell, I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Welcome aboard from Portland, Oregon. Pretty cool to see you here. We are here, for those that we're just here twice a week on Friday at 20 UTC, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and on Wednesday 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific, or 0 UTC. Yes, I know, Alex. I know, Alex. I will at some point. Trimbali says, my dad has an ICOM 756 Pro 2 with a meter long loop receive only antenna and a receive transmit 40-80 meter antenna. Cool. And you like with Tuesdays, Wednesdays meteor shower? I haven't even tried. I never even tried on the meteor stuff. I'm not sure I've ever heard any meteor scatter through the years. I haven't really taken the time to do so. Also, to take the time to see. Five 332. There's a CW station. Five 332. Yeah, this is an RSP1A from SDR Play, Trimbali. Is 5332 a 60 meters frequency? Yeah, Sam radio frequency. 5332, guys in CW on 5332. Kind of nice. Wow. Okay, radioactive. Center frequency for channel 1. Okay. Keegan has 12030 signal of Radio Exterior España. Let's check it out here if it comes in Montreal. 12030. Yeah, pretty good. It's there. It's there. 12030. That guy says it's same Middle East, strong in New York. Trimbali says I'm using an SDR play box to listen to aircraft transponders on 1090 1 gigahertz. So cool. How low can I go and what antenna I'm using? I can go down to 1 kilohertz, and I'm using an MLA on this one right now. It's a MLA 30 megaloop from China, but I also have 2 other antennas and W6 LVP loop and a 80 feet sloper in the backyard, and I can go up to 2 gigahertz. The RSP1A can go as high as 2 gigahertz. Yeah, I'm using FLDG for CW decoding, but you can get CW skimmer, CW GET. You can decode it with multi-PSK. Lots of software to decode Morse code. Absolutely. Yes, I have received my second MLA30 radioactive. It's still in the box. I need to take it out. But I received it. I want to use it as a portable antenna for like the expeditions or stuff. I think that'd be that's going to be a nice. I tested one of that I actually liked a lot, Alex. A CW skimmer. In the test that I've done, because it's not free, but in the test that I've done, seems to be one of the best in its accuracy and in being capable of decoding CW. Joe, somebody on your house says, I'm training to code CW by ear, slow speed, to pass my next level ham license. Cool. I'm not very good. When it's slow, you know, when it's sent out really slow, I am capable of kind of, you know, getting the drift of what they are sending. I've never really trained my ear enough for faster speeds. But when it's slow, often I can decode. I can you know, make out. It's like learning a language. Eh? CW is really like learning a language, honestly. So it's always kind of something you gotta train. You gotta train yourself, you know. Shimbali is listening to a SDR Kiwi receiver in Maine. Cool, cool. You know, for those that aren't on that don't have a radio, it's cool for that. SDR.HU, all the Kiwi SDRs out there around the world is just crazy nice, and you are able to listen to shortwave and follow even if you're not, you know, even if you don't have a radio. Circuitous vibes. How does the CW decoding software react when there sounds like multiple messages being sent at the same time? Well, the thing is about decoding is that it's driven by frequency. So the software, like FLDG, has a waterfall, and it's the waterfall is the audio frequencies. So for example, if there are 8 different stations that you hear at the same time, they're all on different frequencies. You can actually click and say, this is the CW signal I want to listen to. It blocks out everything else. It filters out the rest. So it's not much of a problem for that. The biggest problem of Morse code decoding is if the CW signal or the Morse code is sent by a human or by a computer. It's not the same thing, because some AM radio operators, what they do today is actually type on the keyboard their text, and it's automatically being sent out with the radio because of the software. When that is happening, usually the code is really good because a computer is extremely precise in the timing. But when it's a human sending it out with a key, that is where the problem is very often. We aren't as consistent, and a lot of CW operators are up and down in speed as they go. And that's where the software has a real hard time decoding it properly because of the differences, the variations in speed. And you know, part of it is also the noise that will be on the CW. So, but it's pretty amazing, absolutely. It's really, really nice. So hey guys, we've been on for 2 hours 34. I am hungry. I've got some chicken to cook. I've got actually some barbecue chicken that I want to make tonight with a little salad. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Hope you enjoyed today's show. And we'll be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And of course, we'll be here next Friday as we move on in the month of October. Hope you enjoyed the show tonight. And Tony Sirnan, nice to have you here. Yes, I do have an email if you want to write. Our official shortwaveradio@gmail.com is where you can write and say hello. And of course, we will read the emails and be here. Happy Thanksgiving weekend to all our Canadians, and happy Columbus Day weekend to U.S. citizens. Chris Alpha Tango, take care, my friend. Sorry that I have to leave. F4 IDL, take care, my friend. Always nice to have all of you here. And thanks for the donations, guys. Thanks for being great fans. And see you Wednesday or Friday. And take care, my friend. Always really cool to be here. Stay safe. And see you soon on the live shows. Bye-bye.